Hello, good evening everybody, welcome along to the JACKOCAR Cup Series here for Season 6, Round 6 here at Spain. It's all sixes tonight. Can it be 6 different winners in a row? I'm your commentator Owen White. With me is Jacko, and after the dramatic ending to last week, I think we're in for a pretty good Spanish Grand Prix today.
I would agree with you as well, because Jamie Griffiths made a very good point just a second ago in chat as I get the tweet out, saying that not many people ever actually drive Spain for fun. So he's saying it could be carnage, and it's a new layout to a degree. So who knows what we could be in for. And also, the first time in 84 races, 2.5 years, or 925 days since the Cup Series raced in Spain.
Yes, a lot has changed since then. Technically as well, including the commentary lineup, because it was the first race I ever missed in JACKOCAR. Some which I've become quite good at this season, but we're here for this one, so I'm not letting you down. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the drivers go, because I agree, this track isn't all that fun to drive. And so people won't have been on it, and I still think people are going to be thrown by the fact that it's the new layout. And the reason I say that is because the new layout was introduced in real F1 last year, but it wasn't introduced in the game until this year. And so, yeah, there could be a little bit of drama based around that as well. That's obviously at the end of a DRS zone too, so if we end up in a interesting fight later on in the race or something, that's where you could see action. So I'm expecting a good race tonight.
Yeah, and speaking of interesting fights, we got 2 jokers tonight in the form of Iceman and OKK. OKK's slowly coming back to form. I mean, he almost won last week. So maybe we're going to have a nice little joker battle towards the end of the race. Or will we be looking at another 2-stopper? The next pure joker win in the Cup Series would be the 10th, so we'll finally hit double figures. But will it be tonight?
I'm expecting good things from OKK, because he got so close to winning last week, was all over the back of Jamie Griffiths, and when he went for the move into the Vale chicane, I thought he'd won it. I really thought he had. But it's just the traction, the wheel bind, put those rear wheels just too slippery, and he couldn't get himself facing in the right direction to get the exit. So he will be looking a bit of revenge for that this week, to prove himself and to get himself into the playoffs, because with the way this season's going so far, it's possibly going to be the hardest season to qualify for the playoffs if you aren't a race winner, because of how many people are winning races. So I do think, yeah, you've got to be taking advantage of the jokers, and if you're on good form like OKK is, it's a really big opportunity today.
Yeah, and you have JACKOCAR's a league where it's very difficult to carry form, isn't it? So if you do have any sort of form, you've got to run with it. So maybe this is OKK's time as we watch Tez leave the garage. Tez, by the way, 20th place in the standings, along with Corey, who isn't here this week. Corey out with a race ban for an intentional crash. So we see Michel Goris return. Risky is back. Sullivan Lewis after a late absence, and of course Esti Mats, who is on good form, isn't here this week. So Matthew Redmore makes his return to league racing. You'll see him much later on. And the only other thing to mention is Ben Shaw, who hasn't had a pole this season, has a qualifying ban this week, so he's got to wait one more week. But he is of course allowed an installation lap.
Yeah, so we will see him for a little bit at the end, but at least we don't have to worry about the whole, oh will he, won't he? Because he won't. But it should lead to a pretty entertaining race for him, because we saw actually last week, I recall that OKK, we were talking about him, but he was facing backwards not long before the last safety car came out. In fact, he pitted just before it, and that's sort of what put him in the position to win. So I don't think Ben will be feeling too bad about where he sits at the moment, because there's always opportunities in this league. So as we watch T's coming round, he's invalidated the out lap, but that is not really a big deal as long as you get the proper lap underway. And I'm liking his livery. It reminds me of the F2 Charouz cars. And obviously one of our former drivers, Louis Delatraz, loves the wee Charouz. And so we'll hold a soft spot for this livery tonight. As he comes across the line, T's to start. You want to be all the way over to the left-hand side for braking into turn 1. Give the best entry. Get the car all straightened up on the exit of 2. Don't be too much on the throttle, because you will lose it. A bit like that. Nicely saved, though. He's got to make sure he gets to the end of the lap, because it could still count for a good position, because the likes of Iceman won't get a lap in today, and there'll be definitely some invalidations. But what a save that was.
Great save, wasn't it, through turn 3? In fact, when we come to Jordan a bit later on in the session, he's saying he's been struggling all week trying to get that one right. So Tez, Jordan, and I'm sure a few others will have problems through there. Normally, it's a flat-out corner, but this game, the way the mechanics are of the new car, it's actually a lot more difficult, isn't it? So, but yeah, good to see Tez keeping it valid for now. He knows the lap's gone, so he's just warming the tyres up. As I've already said, haven't I, that Tez is on 0 points. He really could do with finishing tonight because he's going to spin again. The standings are still quite close, so his season isn't over.
Your season's never really over, is it? So he's got to make sure he gets through. But that is a driver right now that looks like he has no confidence in his setup. And I'll tell you what, there's another car off as well. Michel Goris has gone at the same point, but this time he has beat the car, which means he will not be able to qualify, and he has indeed been disqualified. And so, turn 3 already is proving a real challenge for the drivers at the moment. So the first time on the board, Tees, that's going to be beaten probably by Risky, as long as he keeps it all pointing in the right direction.
So you won't get a lot of money on returns if you say that one's going to be beaten. But it's good to have Risky back, isn't it? This car, the best looking car this season.
Yeah.
Shame he missed last week, but we get to see it again. I wonder what he can do. I think a man once again aiming for the chase, because he's missed so many races. He's put his attention into the postseason. That's an interesting line through there, isn't it? There's so many different ways you can go around that corner, that new corner, the new profiled corner. Turn 10.
Oh, yeah, it's so many different ways of saying it, as you say, because it's such an odd radius of corner. It's so wide, but you don't know whether you want to be on the inside, outside. You want to make sure you get turn 11 right so you don't spin off. But it is such a difficult corner. Risky got it slightly wrong, but he got to the line and he has set the first competitive time of the night. So, where's MK Born at? He is currently in the middle sector through 7 and 8. Now, I wonder who's going to be able to take turn 9 flat. You can do it, but you've got to be properly brave, and MK Born taking the cautious approach there.
I don't blame him as well. You know, you've got drivers who are disqualified and not setting laps in this session, so a time on the board should benefit you.
I'm still liking MK Born's colours, by the way, especially in the helmet as well. It all comes together very nicely. We all love a good purple in JACKOCAR, as you all know. And MK Born, he's come up with a very nice livery indeed. But will there be a good lap time to go along with it? Yes, he goes P2, just off Risky, but we know the pace of those two. Those times may well stay up at the front. Now, speaking of purple cars, here is Connor, the CEO of Good Purple Cars. And he has a purple first sector to go with it. So let's see if this can be a front-running time.
Is that an official title, is it? CEO of Purple Cars?
Yeah. We'll let him have it.
Connor, by the way, my travel partner for the Daytona 500 next year.
Ooh, very exciting.
That'd be my third, believe it or not. Of course, NASCAR relatable, because JACKOCAR shares some of its roots with that.
Yeah.
Motorsport. Better than F1, isn't it? Because there's less controversy at the moment.
Well, yeah, somehow we've ended up in that situation. I'm not entirely sure, but unfortunately, Connor's time might not be very competitive. In fact, it's 12 seconds off the pace, but still a purple last sector apparently.
Yeah, he might have spun at turn 3, you know. Yeah,
could be another victim of that, because we caught his lap at start. Well, the first I saw, but he was at turn 4, so you might well be right. It may have been another incident at turn 3, which, quite a common theme. Now, Jake is currently out there. He's heading through the last sector now and towards the Mickey Mouse chicane, which is going, isn't it, at some point soon. So one day we'll have a JACKOCAR race here where they don't have to worry about it. For now, though, it is still annoying all the drivers, but Jake doesn't mind. He goes P1.
He's a man who obviously already into the playoffs, but could do with a few more points, could Jake? So that's why he's out so early, the Season 5 champion. As attention turns to the Haslett brothers, Leroy.
And he had a really decent run last week, didn't he? He could well have been in the fight for the win had it all gone his way. And it's quite remarkable considering where he ended up in turn 1, which was in the gravel trap. So Leroy on decent form as he comes out of the final corner. Not quite going to beat Jake, but does put himself provisionally on the front row. So good
Not
stuff
bad.
from him.
Not bad at all.
Ben Harrett. Let's see how he's getting on in my colours.
You say it every week.
Well, they are my colours, what can I say?
Yeah, blues and greens. I remember actually in the early days of JACKOCAR, you'd always say how you wanted someone to use the blues and greens properly on a car.
Yeah.
Has Ben got it right in your eyes?
He has indeed. I am a big fan. Is there another car off at turn 3?
There is.
Okay.
Is it OKK?
Yeah, it's okay. That turn
Is
3.
that lap?
I know, but I tell you what, lap 1 could be interesting on slightly cold tyres, considering we don't have the formation lap on. So keep your eyes on that, because that's cold tyres out of the pit lane, and they can't even do it on their own. Try avoiding 20 other drivers around you. As Ben comes around the final corner, we ride on board. It's going to go P5.
Yeah. And then straight to the other Hasleder brother, then Yori. Seems to be. Oh, he's going to spin. Yeah, we caught that, didn't we?
Yeah. I had cut just off board as it was going round, so I had more faith in him. Oh, he's beached it as well. He's going to get disqualified for that most likely. But that is what happens when you make a mistake on this track. And that's going to put him right to the back of the grid.
I wonder if Gareth can come and return the favour from Abu Dhabi. I don't know, you weren't here for that, but you might have seen the clip. There is Yori disqualified.
Yeah.
Of course, Gareth come and nudged him back on the track, didn't he? During the race as well.
Do you know, I'm quite liking the fact you can beat your car now, because it actually punishes the mistakes a bit more. Because you saw he sort of lazily rolled back there after the spin, and it called him out. And so, mistakes getting rightly punished. I like a bit more strictness. As we see Pete heading through. Once again, the game claims it's a purple middle sector, and there's another car off. It's a black dot. I'm hoping it's OKK. I was going to say I hope it isn't him, but it is. Our Joker driver, one of two. Ben Shaw, quali ban everyone, so we're going to see 2 Joker drivers right at the back of the grid today, which should be very interesting indeed. Where's Pete going to be, though, as he comes across the line? P2. Good stuff for the Season 1 champion. Once again, going to keep reminding you until you win another one, mate.
And we are into the final 10 then, the top 10 in points. We will only see 9 drivers during this because of Ben's qualifying ban. He's allowed an installation lap. But OKK, knowing that we've got 2 disqualifications and 2 very slow laps on the board, and of course Ben not setting a lap, he can still qualify 15th here. Just to keep it facing the right way, at least for another 4 more corners.
Yes, and I think we can also cut off him and have a look at Jordan. I'll keep an eye on OKK's time, but Jordan's should be more competitive. And he, of course, was the original driver, choose my colours as well. So him and Ben are both definitely in the good books. Although he used my colours for Sheffield Wednesday, didn't he? All the way back in Season 1, so he had slightly different reasons. He put a run in to get into the Championship 5 that season, didn't he? As well, so it was a very successful set of colours for him as he comes through.
Late joiner, won the chase, went to Championship 5 and finished 3rd, I believe, overall.
Yeah, it was a pretty good run for him in the end. It was an unexpectedly good run, considering joining halfway through the season. But since then we've been waiting for him to get further up and back into the Championship 5. Maybe this will be the season. As he comes around the final corner, the DRS gets activated. He's got a 17.9 to beat. He doesn't quite get there, but does go P3. Now, Jess, how is she getting on? She's relatively okay through the middle sector, and at the very least she'll qualify 8th on this run, but I imagine she may go a little bit higher. She looks pretty competitive.
Yeah, Jess, by the way, confirmed earlier in the week that the orange and yellow that she runs are inspired by the league. JACKOCAR colours, it's nice to see. Better than purple. But anyway, Jess to the line, and it is a 8th as you said, a 1:18.8. So we now move to Kieran, who has had 2 poles this season, but no wins as yet, in a very bright green car. And that's very
Gamu, is that you?
He's back.
Wow, I've missed him.
But it's so green, it looks like it's from a cartoon, doesn't it?
It's a weird...
As vibrant as you like.
I like it, though. I like it. Kieran always has interesting colours, doesn't he? He's never had a traditional livery in JACKOCAR.
Do you remember his clown car from, like, Season 4?
Yeah.
It's ugly as anything, but
I know.
you knew it was him.
Yeah. He's certainly got his own brand for liveries, hasn't he?
Yes. Anyway, what can he do? I mean, we expect Kieran to be one of the guys pushing for pole position, actually.
Yeah.
2 already this season, as we said. And up to the line, here comes Kieran. New P1 time. So Jake won't go back-to-back poles. And Kieran now sets the benchmark for the remaining drivers. Gareth, Jamie Griffiths, Jamie Wright, Matthew Redmore, of course, yet to come, and then Casper.
And, well, it makes me a bit sad now, looking at Gareth, because if only he had just pitted before that last safety car. Of course, there was no way of knowing it was coming, but he had that British Grand Prix in his hands, and it could have been a very exciting first win for him, but he's had a bad lap as well, hasn't he? He's 15 seconds off the pace in the middle sector, so, yeah, it's not getting much better for him, but, I mean, he's still having a good season, don't get me wrong, he's still having a very good season, but I really did think last week would be his time. Maybe he will have a good run at it, though, this week.
I mean, Gareth is still 5th in points, to my knowledge, so it's not a bad season at all. In fact, Gareth is indeed 6th, sorry.
I tell you what, I'm looking at Jamie Griffiths, and he is 3 seconds off the pace, so he's also had a mistake out there. So a lot of these guys are not getting the times on the board. It's not nearly as bad as last week, but these cars, they're harder to drive in this year's F1 game, and you can see clear evidence of that right now.
It's last week's race winner as well. Jamie Griffiths, with his 2 race wins, has a combined winning margin of less than 0.8 of a second as he goes 10th. So yeah, he actually has the lowest winning margin of multiple race winners in JACKOCAR. There's a stat for you.
Yes, and here's the man who he narrowly beat.
Jamie Wright. Sorry, I went straight to Matthew Redmore, but yeah, Jamie Wright first. Already in the playoffs.
Good middle sector, right on Kieran's pace. Let's see.
Oh no!
Well, he's kept it facing the right direction, but it may not go P1 anymore, and you can see the rears are still relatively on edge. They may well be overheating. Just need to get yourself through that last corner and get a time on the board. But you can see how tight the gaps are, actually, from 3rd down to 5th. So a little mistake like the one he had could cost multiple positions as he comes to the line. It still looks good, though. It's still P1. So really good stuff from Jimmy, even despite the mistake. But it does open the door for a man who we know loves a pole position, who left the league just 5 races ago, and here he is back again. Redmat ready to take back his throne as the top driver in JACKOCAR.
Yep, welcome back. Matthew Redmore sits on 10 career poles in JACKOCAR, 2 Championship 5 appearances, and one of those he could have won the title win as he throws it into the new turn 10, Owen. Back in yellow and black. It's traditional sort of colours for Matthew. What can he do on his, dare I say, 1 race return to JACKOCAR? Will it become more? It's a gateway drug. This could be the start of maybe his return into Season 7. He struggles for the chicane, but into the final corner then comes Redmat, a real challenger for pole. What can he do? DRS wide open. It's P1 for Redmat.
We love seeing that. We love seeing a returning driver going straight to P1, and he's very happy about it. But can Casper break his heart because he's right on pace? Still not as fast as Jamie's middle sector, but remember, he hasn't had a slide, nor did Redmat. But as it stands, we're looking at one of the closest qualifying in JACKOCAR history. Can Casper beat Redmat and Jamie, or will it be Redmat on pole by 0.002 seconds? How tight do you want it to be as Casper cleanly through the final corner, and eyes on the timing screen now? Here, where's he going to go? It's not even close. Nearly 3/10 clear in the end, and it's Casper on pole position.
Wow, that was fun, wasn't it?
That was a good session, that was. And of course, Iceman having to pull into the pits, and look at that, he's going for the spins now, he knows we're watching, and that was a very excitable Casper in P1.
And he knows as well that he doesn't need those tyres, so he can celebrate like that, and rightfully so. That's his first pole of the season. Casper already in the playoffs, but he knows with Iceman starting P18 and the other Joker, OKK, 14th, you know, he's in a very good position to go and win this race. But Red Matt, on his league racing return, will pose a threat. Jamie Wright, Kieran back to form, Jake last season's champion, and then everybody else. You know, anybody can win this race. It's JACKOCAR, and it's live from Spain, Owen Wyatt. Oh, we're in for a good one.
We are in for a very good race indeed. Will it be our first two-time winner this season? Based on the qualifying time, you could say Casper certainly has a chance, but as you say, Red Matt right up there on his league racing return in JACKOCAR, his first qualifying session straight back on the pace. And like I say, do you know what? With the randomness of lap 1 and how difficult the traction is for the likes of turn 3, I have a really good feeling that we're going to have a lot of interesting moves happening at the start, and this order will be very much flipped on its head by the end of that first lap.
Yeah, and you dare say you wonder where Jamie Wright would have been without that mistake, because it's only 0.2 of a gap back to him, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it was the fastest middle sector of the whole session as well. I think he was at 51.4 where Casper was at 51.5. So he had it in his hands, but at turn 10, it's one of the most difficult traction zones. We mentioned there's so many different ways to get around it, and Jamie just didn't quite get it the way he wanted. But here is the grid then for round 6 of season 6. Casper on pole from Red Matt, Jamie, Kieran, Jake, Pete doing well up there in P6, Jordan 7th, Leroy, Risky and MK Bourne, then Ben, Jess, Jamie Griffiths, our last race winner, OKK, Connor, Gareth, Tees, Iceman, Yori and Michelle. Now, our jokers again, 14th and 18th, as you say, OKK and Iceman. Those two will be hoping for a clean start, I would imagine, to get themselves well into the race to make their strategies work. So, this, I'm very much looking forward to this.
Absolutely. Well, perhaps this new layout is delivering, isn't it? And the new cars will assist that. But yeah, what a qualifying! That was one of our best qualifyings.
Yeah.
Stage points are lap 8 and lap 16. Jokers you've already mentioned in the form of Iceman and OKK. And
dull conditions, isn't it?
It's dull conditions. Although I did see a comment in the chat earlier saying that it is going to be dry. Hello to those of you in the chat. Christian Hataro watching, sitting this week out. And hello to Corey, enjoying
Hi, Corey.
his race ban.
What's it like being on the bench, lad?
Unbelievable.
I tell you what though, with these dull conditions, I'd imagine the track temperature won't be as high as it could have been as we lose Gareth before the race starts. I'm hoping this isn't more issues loaded into lobbies. We've had this happen multiple times, haven't we? But with dull conditions like this, lower tire temperatures because of no formation lap and lower track temperatures because of the dull conditions, we really could have some run. And that run to turn 1, I'm hyping up all the turn 3 and that, but it's one of the longest runs to turn 1 of the entire season. So you really do have to get it right from the start. So this really should be one of the most interesting launches from the grid and first laps we have all season. If it would ever start.
Yeah, Gareth rejoins. Nobody's complaining in chat yet.
Well, we've got a timer now on our screen as well, which is good.
The chat is normally the place where you find out if there is an issue, but that's deadly quiet, so we'll assume they are making their strategies for this race. Will it be a straightforward one?
Well,
or who knows?
Well, all I would say is that Casper, he has led the most laps this season, so if you're betting on a easy win for him, I suppose he is the man to be looking at because he knows how to lead a race. But let's see if he can get to the end of lap 1 first, which is going to be, as I say, relatively difficult. I'd be amazed that they aren't all on stall. So there's 5 red lights here in Spain. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing. And like I say, it's such a long run. So who's going to get the best look? As straight into the slipstream goes Red Matt. And you can see Casper moving to the inside of turn 1 to defend. Is Red Matt brave enough to go around the outside? No, he isn't. He'll just hold position. We see Jake and Kieran going side by side. As we see everyone making it through relatively okay, and now Risky trying to get in on the action. Really good stuff as they all head through side by side. Still a potential move for Red Matt. Round the outside of turn 4. We see this from Hamilton and Magnussen not go well. It hasn't gone well here either. As round goes Casper, and he does get collected nearly. I think that might have been a car heading straight off the road to avoid him, which may well mean we don't get any safety car. But Red Matt, having had contact with the pole sitter, is now into the lead of the race.
Yeah, you basically called everything that we saw, and nice work from yourself there. Casper with some front end plate damage, and then Matthew Redmore pulling away then from Jamie Wright as if nothing ever happened. Kieran and Jamie Wright benefiting, and Jake up to 4th. Risky, by the way, running in P5. Great start for him. But other than that, it was very clean.
Both of our Joker drivers have moved up 4 positions each, both of them on the medium compound tyres, both of them the highest runners on the medium compound tyres, so all going to plan for them so far. As we see, a lot of pitters, 3 of them at least anyway, which for me is a lot on that one. Jamie is one of them, Jake as well, Leroy, Casper, Michelle and Yuri all in. And all, I would imagine, going for, well, oh, look at that, we had some stacking going on there. Jamie and Jake might have cost Jake a couple of seconds there, but it looks like it's all going to be for the medium compound tyre. As a few for front wings as well, of course. But, well, Yuri's gone for hards, which is interesting, getting those perhaps out of the way. The hards are, of course, a decent race tyre on this year's F1 game, but I would have thought this early on, be putting mediums on. But we'll see how it works out for him later on. Of course, a safety car for any of these guys gets them straight back into the action. But it means that OKK now, still the highest Joker runner, he's made 7 spots. He's already halfway up to the lead.
Yep, and whilst you were covering the pit stops there, I was on board with him looking in front. Ben Harrett right tucked up behind Jordan, who was struggling through turn 3, has managed to hold on, and hopefully he can gain some confidence. In fact, he's now done 2 rounds of turn 3. But yeah, Ben Harrett and OKK looking very lively as Connor and MK Bourne and Pete and Iceman follow behind in that train. And you got Tez, who's worked his way up to 12th with those early pitters as Red comes in.
And that'll leave Kieran out to lead this race. Will he go on and try and get the first playoff points tonight, or will he cover off his rivals? As you see, Jamie Griffiths side by side with Risky. No DRS on the main straight yet, so that was a pure ERS move potentially, and Risky certainly was backing off earlier into turn 1 to let him go. Jamie Griffiths, of course, I would imagine the faster driver and full of confidence after last week, but he's already 3.5 seconds behind Kieran, so he's got a lot of work to do. He's at a car off through turn 3, and it is indeed Pete. There's another car and with Tez. And will they both be able to recover without getting into anyone's way? They've got a good gap to Redmat behind, but he's got to be careful, the former race leader, as he comes through past T's and just has to keep his wits about him, because I would imagine Pete's going to have some overheated tyres, and you don't want to collect him if he goes off again. By the way, Jamie is still behind T's, and it's a good gap that Redmat has built, so all good from his camp.
Yeah. So I'm just watching a battle here. Jordan has found some confidence. He's all over the battle. Risky at the moment.
That could be a safety car because Pete's gone again. And as I look at that, Casper has finished his pit stop strategy. So that could be big news for later on this race. It's a VSC though, not a full safety car. But I did notice that Casper out there on the hard compound tyres. Kieran, easy decision to pit for these guys at the front. But it does let others who pitted earlier possibly have a chance to finish their strategies and get it all out of the way, as hopefully there'll be no delays for Kieran. And OKK, well, look at that, 4 laps it took him into the race lead, and well, assuming it's a straightforward race, he's the man. But of course Iceman, he'll be eager to take a second victory this season, and I'm sure he'll be seeing OKK as maybe not as big as challenges maybe he'd want to, but we'll see how they both get on. But they're 1-2 now, the Joker drivers, and Kieran, the leader outside of that pack.
Yeah, Kieran coming out in front of Redmat there, that was important for Kieran's race. But the thing is now, you know, OKK's struggled over the last couple of seasons. Everyone sees him in One Hub and JACKOCAR and JOR. He is gradually going back to his old self. He is more of a threat now than perhaps what Ben would want. So, like, you know, we've seen it before where drivers will give up wins to make their lives easier later on in the season. Would Ben really, if he found himself in the lead of this race, want OKK winning? Because I see OKK as a genuine threat in the playoffs.
Oh, Jamie and Jamie, side by side through 9. That's not something you see very often. But Jamie Wright, who's on the faster, softer tyres, clearly looking to get through quickly. And a brave move to make it stick up into P6 now. Of course, he'll be chasing after Redmat and Kieran once he gets by T's. He'll have DRS on, and I would imagine we'll get by on the main straight.
Yeah, unless he pits, although he is on the mediums, it is Tees who hasn't finished a race yet this season. He's on 0 points along with Corey. Perhaps should have pitted on the last lap during that VSC, but he didn't, and now he is going to be under pressure from Jamie Wright, who will look to go to the right and maybe to the left then. Tez forces Jamie around the outside and actually holds position. Very nicely done. Some great racing so far in these opening few laps tonight, Owen. Really good to see as they go through turn 3. The two leaders have a nice 7-second buffer to Kieran behind. Jamie at the inside into turn 4 and there's contact.
Well, it's certainly giving it a big fight, isn't he, Tees? But he's doing nothing wrong. Jamie Wright just can't find a way through it. He goes down the inside in 5, making contact, and this time making it stick. But that will have cost him a good second as Jamie Griffiths just holds on in the background, waiting for those hard compound tyres to get up to temperature.
If you ever wanted an example of how to overtake in JACKOCAR, that was it. Brilliant stuff from Jamie Wright, one of the more experienced drivers that we have. Kieran, Iceman, OKK remain as your top 3. OKK, by the way, has pulled a gap on Iceman. Talk about coming into form, eh?
I know, it's picking a very good time to do it as Jamie Griffiths holds on to the back of Tees, who I wonder if he's he's off actually. He's out of the race and it could be a safety car. Let's look out for those. Yep, full safety car deployed, and that is fantastic news, I think, for Jamie and Jamie, because as far as I can tell, they were committed. I'm not sure Jake was, but definitely the two Jamies I would have imagined were, and they saw the crash happen, so they knew it was coming, and I think this could be them finishing their pit stop strategies.
Hold on, Owen, I'll be with you in a second as I get these pit stops noted down. Jake will be under review. Jess is definitely non-mandatory.
Not the first time this has happened with Jake this season, is it?
It's not.
That's teaser.
Last week, by the way,
yeah.
we called it as non-mandatory, but he was before he was on the racing line side of the white line, but he was, you know, only a foot away, let's say, and going 170 miles an hour, so we did remove that from his tally. It was a mandatory stop in the end because there was very little we could have done.
And so this, I suppose, is bad news actually for the Joker drivers. Of course, OKK will still be able to pick up some playoff points for it, but he would have hoped that the safety car wouldn't have come until after his pit stop was over. But still, it's so early in this race to worry about the end of it yet. But yeah, I'd say this is setting us up pretty nicely. It's a shame to see Tees go so early because he was fighting so well actually, because I thought he'd be a bit of a pushover, and he actually did everything right up until the accident. So yeah, there's definitely potential for him to do good things, but he's got my problem. He keeps crashing. I've still not finished a race in this game yet either, so I know how it feels, Tees. It'll happen eventually.
It's a shame. He now goes, I would say it's more than 6 races without a point, actually. Let's do some quick maths for you. He didn't race the first 2 races, so he's done 4. And then, where are you, Tez? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nope, it's 7. 7 races where he has not finished. 7 races in a row. And then you include all the ones with his bans and his did not starts. He's in double figures, unfortunately for Tez.
It'll just make the day where it all comes good even better. Let's look at it that way. But yeah, well, what he's done at least is create some excitement for this, because when this field all gets caught up, like I say, a driver I was looking at before was Casper, because he already finished his pit stop strategy. And so, you know, the longer this race goes in, the longer he'll have to get back into it all. And he will have a decent advantage over some of these drivers out there. So, yeah, don't count him out of any sort of result just yet, because he's obviously the pole sitter as well. He's got the pace.
Oh, yes. And I'm just looking down the order at the 2 Jamies running next to each other. Jamie Wright went on to hard tyres, so he is good to the end. But Jamie Griffiths on the mediums, I mean, I shall hold my breath for him, but if I pass out, don't be surprised.
It was between a rock and a hard place over him, wasn't it? Because his idea of going onto the hards earlier was so he could go further and take advantage of the mediums later on in the race. But when you have an opportunity as good as he did to make the second mandatory stop, again, I imagine there'll come another safety car later where he can get rid of those mediums and do something else. So I hope it'll work out for him, because he's done the right thing basically so far, getting that pit stop out of the way.
Yep. Sorry, I'm just catching up on some admin mid-race.
Yeah. Fair enough. Doesn't surprise me. But I tell you what, though, of course, another thing, I said this last week when it came to drivers in good positions stuck in the midfield. That's something these guys are going to have to worry about. Jamie, both of them, especially with Jamie Wright, actually, on the hards. We saw how long it took Jamie Griffiths to get them up to temperature. He was falling away so quickly from Jamie Wright, and so we'll see the opposite happen here potentially. And it's surviving those first couple of laps on the restart, which could be crucial to their days. By the way, lap 8, at the end of this, OKK will be getting his playoff point. He may well also be having to deal with a restart, because Michelle is on the back of the field now, so I can't imagine the safety car stay any longer. In fact, it's coming in at the end of this lap. And the track's gone green now, which is always good news, so that puts us under the control of OKK, and I'm hoping we're not going to have any more glitches. I don't really trust the safety car anymore after what happened last week, so...
Owen?
Yes?
Here's a stat for you. Do you remember when OKK won in Monza in Season 2?
I do indeed.
That was the last time he scored a playoff point.
Well, wow.
63 races ago.
Well, get ready, OKK, because you're about to score one now as we head towards the restart zone, which is where, Jacko?
From the DRS line up to the timing line. Right. So now OKK has full control of the pack until he decides to launch, so he can go any time in between that gap. All eyes on OKK.
He's
and away
away.
he goes.
And he's going to pick up a playoff point, but will he get down towards turn 1 and lead? I'd say yes, because Iceman is under a load of pressure from multiple cars, from multiple angles. But is anyone going to be able to get through into turn 1? Will they risk it side by side with Kieran with Redmat? But Redmat's actually going to fall back a little bit. He's now side by side with Risky Racer, and we have yellow flags for Yuri and for MK Bourne. That's Rania aside. Look at that from Risky. What a move that was. He's up into P4, and now we've got Leroy side by side with Redmat. Will Redmat get a little bit of karma for what happened at the start of the race as he now sits side by side with someone in turn 5, surviving? And oh, look on the inside, Ben Harrett and Leroy being pushed away. What an aggressive move to get up to 6th place.
Pete getting absolutely swamped there by Casper and J-Luke, who's fallen back here. Gareth in the middle of that as well. Jake has fallen away and Jordan has gained from it as OKK becomes under more pressure.
Oh no! Big accident!
In the background.
Multiple cars, Casper as well. Casper's gone off at the same point. Will this bring out a safety car? I must do.
Yeah.
And
yep,
Casper...
the safety car is out.
Casper, lucky that the safety car is going to bail him out there, because sometimes they don't come out on a restart lap. Who's that off as well? MK Bourne. Did he have to let Casper back through despite him facing the wrong way when he went off? But Leroy, he was aggressive on that restart. Maybe he was feeling a little bit shocked by the move that Ben had pulled on him earlier on, but he went off at 9 and was out of the race. But will we see any more pit stops? I believe we're seeing Pete coming in. And that was what I was saying, by the way, on that restart. You were mentioning J-Luke. He fell back on those hard tyres. And look at where Jamie Griffiths is on those medians. So that's the difference in the tyres. And that's why if you're on the hards right now, I'd imagine you'll want to pit again later in the race.
This will help Jamie Griffiths if he is going to take those mediums to the end. I don't see him having the tyres to win the race at the end, unless we get a late safety car. By the way, the Pete is the only man to make a stop. I'm surprised Casper hasn't. Maybe he got away without any sort of damage. In fact, on his car, it appears that he has. But what a restart from at least the leaders. There was no contact between those guys. Risky with a great move on Redmat. OKK maintained the lead. And Kieran, I think he snuck up the inside of Redmat as well. Oh no, he was already in front, wasn't he? Apologies.
A very exciting restart that was. I still can't believe Risky's move. I was wondering where Redmat went, because I guess maybe he had a bit of a slide through 3, but I'm amazed that there wasn't some sort of collision. But the bravery from Risky, who hasn't won a JACKOCAR race since Austria back in, season 3? I mean, he's pulling moves right now to put himself as one of the front guys out of nowhere, really.
In a season that's given us a different winner every race. You never know what's going to happen next, do you? I mean, of the top 5, only Iceman has won this season. In fact, of the top 10, Iceman and Jake are the only ones that have won races this season.
And Jamie, don't miss out Jamie.
Oh yeah, sorry, no, Jamie numbers. So yeah, 3 of the top 10 have, as opposed to J-Luke. Yeah. So yeah,
Header.
3 drivers.
I got tricked by that as well. Okay. I hope I'm not the only one who saw Red Matt go over the pit lane and not going it, because that's really embarrassing.
I didn't see it, so you're on your own here.
Yeah, thanks. Oh dear. Lap 11 then. Only 1/3 of the way through this race so far. We've already had 2 safety cars and a virtual safety car. And we've already seen, well, I mean, as you say, quite a lot of these drivers up at the front haven't won a race yet this season, so I'm feeling pretty good so far about this. We're going to get a 6th different winner. It's got a very 2012 F1 season vibe, this.
Yeah. Shout out actually to TGP series. TGP1, they've had 8 winners in the first 8 races. That's something that I'd love to see in JACKOCAR, but 5 from 5 is good nonetheless.
Yeah.
In fact, I was looking at the numbers the other day, Owen, when I realised we had 5 from 5. Season 1, in the first 6 races we had 5 from 6. Season 2 we had 4 from 6, and then 5 from 6 again. And then season 4 we had 5 from 6. Season 5 we had 4 from 6. And at the moment, if it stays like this, we will have 6 from 6. So it'll be a new record for the league.
And that would be fantastic to see. I think we'll get more as well. Because,
I
mean,
for sure.
Kieran hasn't won a race yet. Risky hasn't won a race. Red Matt hasn't won a race. He may not have many more chances, Red Matt, after tonight. So he may have to take advantage on this safety car restart and not get mugged again like he did before. Okay, Kato. Well, he's done it once before and it went pretty successful. He was well clear of the field, wasn't he? Into turn 1 when he tried it before.
What a lot of the viewers wouldn't have seen is because of the battle with Ben, who had a poor restart, is OKK went deep into turn 1 but got away with it. And then of course Ben had to defend, and that's why the gap dropped down from I think 0.6 to 0.3 because of OKK's mistake. But can he get it right this time? Well, we will see in a few seconds time.
Well, at the back we've got Jess off and stopped, and so MK Bourne as well is having all sorts of problems, but we'll look at those later on, because here's OKK. Look out for the throttle. He's still slow. He's away, and we've got a few penalties for ignoring yellow flags. It's all going off behind as we see side by side already once again towards turn 1. Risky getting himself into the fight, making it 3 wide. He's up to 3rd already. Can he go round the outside? He's trying it on the brakes on his speed teammate, but doesn't make it work. But he's off this road. Oh, there's 2 off. 2 off the road. 5 off, in fact. There's 3 off at turn 1 as well. Iceman leads the race. Michelle off. We've got Jamie Griffiths off. We've got Jess coming back through because she's passing Yuri, and she's passing OKK and Risky, who are all off the road on this dramatic restart once again.
You covered it about as good as you can there. I don't really want to recap on that one. Iceman leads, and as you say, Owen, about 7 cars are not making the corners or spinning. What a shame for OKK, who finds himself down in 14th. All that hard work to do. He's now on the same strategy as the 12 drivers in front. Iceman has it in his hands at the moment. It is his race to lose.
And look at Jamie.
But what a shame.
Jamie running outside there of Jake, and is there more yellow flags happening now? I'm not entirely sure what that one would be for, but yeah, that's a shame seeing it all going off back there. But I tell you what, if you're Kieran right now watching Iceman take his Joker pit stop and back into the lead of the race he goes, because Kieran, he's now got to do a job to make sure that he can get himself well into this race without having Iceman undercut, because Iceman, of course, still in a very strong position today as he gets himself out of the pits, and we'll be back on the track soon enough. And well,
sensible.
With all the chaos happening, there won't be a massive amount of traffic for him to deal with, so he should have a relatively clear run. And so all going to plan.
Oh, Jess's
so
car
far.
stopped in the pit lane with Yuri behind.
Oh dear. This is potential to cause a lot of problems, hasn't it? We'll see how long this lasts for, but I know Yuri hasn't got a front wing. I believe Jess does, but it's why those 2 cars are sat there is quite a big issue. Now, there's a chance they'll get black flagged if they sit there for too long. I hope they do. And not because I don't like them.
I hope they do.
But the issue is, when we see the race leader, or anyone really, come into the pits, it could cause a lot of problems. And yeah, I thought we were past pit lane issues on the F1 game, to be honest with you, but evidently not.
It appears that Jess is the car at fault. She has lag, according to Yuri. There she goes. She retires from the session.
Well, yes, so she's retiring now, but does that move her car? It does. Do. So we are okay, and that's good news because Ben was into the pit lane, and yeah, that was good timing to get those two out of the way. But unfortunately for Yuri and for Jess, it's ruined their races. Of course, Yuri's still in the race. Kanai having to stack is Ben's Spurs. Oh dear.
He was having a good race as well, was Ben.
Yeah, and he's going to have to sit and wait now, because is Yuri even moving? He's away now.
Yes, he is, yeah.
Took their time, but yeah. Oh, poor Ben. Right up there as well. He was way up, what, 4th place, wasn't he?
Third when he pitted, yeah.
Third when he pitted, yeah. So, I know he's having to take a penalty as well. This is a nightmare pit stop for Ben, but he's finally going to come back out, but he'll be right at the very back. And Casper, by the way, I said he'd finish his pit stop strategy, and despite the spin earlier on, he avoided the chaos on that second restart, and so he's up into the 4th place all of a sudden. And like I say, if he can get to the end of the race, which, well, he can, this could be the fight for the lead we're watching right now between him and Jamie Wright.
And Pete's done well to recover to P5 as well. He was in the middle of that sandwich on the first restart and had to pit for a new front wing. He was down in, I think, 18th at the time. He's now 5th.
Redmat's retired.
What's happened?
No, that's another pit lane issue. He went in the pits and suddenly was out. Now, I can't see where his car's gone. It's disappeared completely. Has he had an issue? Has he hit the wall or something? I suppose it's a tricky pit lane entry, but I'd be amazed if Redmat, of all people, has made that sort of mistake. But he's out of the race, which means that that's another driver who's lost a big chance today.
Yeah. What is going on? We'll have to find out from Redmat to see if that was driver error or a game error. But Redmat wouldn't make a mistake like that. Surely not.
I'd be amazed if Redmat, of all people, has made that mistake. But I suppose you never know. Like I say, it is a tricky pit lane because the wall's obviously lining the pit lane entry. It's not like other tracks where it's just a simple line in the middle of the track. So you can hit things, but I'd be surprised if he's dropped it on his own. Anyway, that leaves Kieran out there on his own. It would have done anyway, but it means he doesn't have to worry about an undercut attempt. What he will still probably have to worry about when he pits next is where he's going to be in relation to Iceman, as Michelle, I believe, has had another moment heading through turn 8, but has recovered. Plenty of gravel on that car, but no damage on it at least, so can keep going. And yeah.
I was going to say next lap, or the end of this lap, sorry, will be the second stage. Kieran on his way to getting that one. 5-second leader to Jamie. Redmat tells me he's gutted. He was coming into the pits and tapped the wall, and it ripped off his left front. So it is driver error, as OKK makes his one and only pit stop.
And I tell you what, Kieran has put his foot down. He set the fastest first sector of the whole race so far. I wonder if he's a driver preparing to enter the pits at the end of this lap, or, well, will he be able to get away with it while also getting the playoff point? We'll see. I think Connor has had an off at turn 10. Has recovered through 11 and into 12, so hopefully he can keep going, but that is on new softs. I'm sure he was probably looking for a fastest lap. Instead, he's went for a spin. But Kieran is faster still in the middle sector, so perhaps he'll even just set a fastest lap now and then pit. But let's see. I'd imagine if he goes for the pit lane, he might have the gap to get the playoff point, but let's see what he decides to do. But he's certainly the fastest man on track at the moment based on this current lap. And he does stay out. So I imagine we're going to see the light, this timing screen light up purple. But let's see. As he crosses the line, he does indeed set the fastest lap. So Kieran, flexing his muscles, another driver, of course, yet to win a race in Season 6.
Another driver who's actually yet to find any form this season, although he did come off the back of a P4 last week. However, he was the first to admit he doesn't know where that result come from. His best result of the season for Kieran. Maybe he's starting to get to grips with this game. All drivers learn new games at different speeds. This has been the most different for a long while. But yeah, a Kieran win would be 6 from 6. We wouldn't mind that one.
I tell you what, we've still got Casper harrying the back of Jamie Wright, the two-time champion, looking in his mirrors absolutely all the time. A driver, of course, that does have a penalty of 5 seconds, so I imagine he'll want to take that out in another pit stop later on in the race, so he'll probably wait for a safety car for that opportunity to arise.
And it's worth pointing out, if you haven't kept up with the pit stops, these two are going to the end.
Yes.
Yellow flag, sector
That's
3.
for Connor again, and he's practically doing donuts now. Hope he doesn't bring out some sort of safety car, because a car... Oh, he's hitting the wall now. And the race leader coming through as well. You've got to be so careful. Buddy, I think we're going to get away with it, but
yeah,
Connor
we are.
into the... Oh! What is he doing? What is he doing, Jacko? Is he trying to put a safety car out? Because unfortunately, mate, we're watching you. So I think you failed if you're trying to do that, lad.
This won't go down well with the stewards, I can assure you.
I don't imagine it will. Yeah. Speeding into the pit lane, unsurprisingly. But yeah, that's a strange situation, and not surprisingly, he's now retiring from the race, and Corey straight to the chat requesting a race ban. I wonder why he's saying that. Safety car. Is that a full safety car or a virtual safety car? It's a full safety car, Jacko. I don't know what for, but we've got a full safety car. I'd be amazed if it's another car off, that's why. No, it's Jake. It's Jake. Jake's just stopped. Jake stopped on the road. Kieran. Well, if that's Kieran, then what happened to everyone else?
Kieran was stopped in the middle of 7 and 8. On my screen, at least.
For me, Jake was stopped in the middle of the track at turn 12. What a bizarre situation. But the gaps have stayed relatively the same. But all I know is we have a full safety car right now. And we saw cars stopped between 12 and 13 on the safety car restart. Mainly it was MK Bourne, who was just sort of bouncing along the ground. It was a very odd situation then as well. So the game's certainly being a bit dodgy today. But are we going to see some more pit stops? For instance, will Casper get rid of his 5-second time penalty? I don't see why he wouldn't, because it also means he can stick some lovely fresh new tyres on. Jamie Wright also pitting. And Pete staying out. He can go to the end of this race, potentially, as he finishes strategy, Jacko? No, so I was thinking on the new tyres he may have had a chance, but okay, he's not then. So, Casper, that 5-second penalty has been taken, and he can get himself back into the race. Risky, going for the soft compound tyres. I wonder if that's someone who's banking on more chaos later on. And he has a chance now to get back into this, because we saw how fantastically aggressive he was on the last couple of restarts. Didn't work out for him on the most recent one, but he'd made places up before that spin, so he certainly has the potential, the pace and the bravery to get himself back up there. And on those soft compound tyres, fireworks. That's all I need to say. It'll be absolute fireworks. Now crucially, I've noticed that Jamie in that pit stop didn't get overtaken by Iceman. Casper, obviously with the penalty, did. So Jamie definitely looking in a very, very strong position right now. And Kieran probably wishing he'd pitted after that fastest lap.
Yeah, that's the rule of JACKOCAR, isn't it? If you're going to win the stage, you've got to come in that lap if your gap's big enough, or the lap after. The stage point, the playoff point is so valuable. But there's no point staying out if you don't need to be out after that. So it's a rookie error from Kieran. And the lead driver with their mandatory stops complete is J-Luke, then Iceman, Casper. Risky needs to do one more, and obviously everybody ahead of J-Luke does as well. OKK is done. MK Bourne is good to the end.
Jamie Griffiths as well on some fresh sauce. He's done. That'll be interesting to watch him.
As is Michelle, Ben Harrett, Jake has done 5 stops, by the way. I didn't pick up on that. And Yori has also completed his mandatory stop, so that's your rundown. I
really do tell you what, actually. I think Jamie Griffiths, I hadn't actually picked up on the soft compound tyres until now, but yeah, if he's going to the end, this will be a very exciting restart because he made, what, 5-6 places on mediums when others were on slower tyres in front. He'll make mincemeat of some of these guys on the hards, and I wonder how quickly he'll get up towards the front again.
Well, we're going to find out very soon. By the way, Red Matt confirming to me that despite the fact he's gutted about the crash, he does want to come back. You will have seen earlier, I tweeted out that JACKOCAR or some drugs are bad for you. And JACKOCAR is one of them, so yeah, Red Matt. Oh! I've almost seen Pete driving at the back of Kieran.
Wow.
They get away with it. But yeah, no, I think Red Matt might be back in the future. Judging by the comments I'm getting back from him, which is nice to hear.
Yeah, we'd like to see him back. He's been very competitive today as well, so he's clearly got the pace for it. And I'm sure the pain from that last season loss will still be hurting deep. He'll want revenge. Not that anyone did anything wrong, but you could argue it was his season to win, and he didn't, because he has been consistently one of the fastest drivers in JACKOCAR. So yeah, he'll definitely be back for another full campaign soon enough, because he'll be wanting one of those fancy JACKOCAR Cup Series titles, won't he? So
oh yes,
he'll be back. He'll definitely be back.
Tell you what, in the season we're having, I've got no idea who one of those fancy titles is actually going to go to. It's so open, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. I said it last week, this has potential to be the most competitive JACKOCAR season we'll ever see, because of the fact we've got the new cars and just the general unpredictability of the game itself, and even the new strategies with say, you know, race starts being on brand new tyres for everyone. There's so many different variables, and so yeah, it really is going to be so competitive. And like I say, there's still a potential for 6 different winners in 6 races. I must say that chance is significantly lower now than it was 5 minutes ago, but the chance is still there, and that's just how competitive it is. And
so
more pit stops, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I was just keeping up with. So Yori makes his first, Ben makes his second.
Ben having to stack again. Didn't get held for as long this time, but oh, the poor guy. But he'll be on new softs though, so I'm sure he won't mind it too much. Now that he's back out on track, but he has a long way to catch up. But he'll be on nice warmed up tyres when that safety car comes in, because I assume they'll probably try and bring it in this lap.
Yeah, it's going to leave us with 12, 13 to go, isn't it?
12 to go.
The softs, it's going to be touch and go, isn't it?
It'll be touch and go, but they'll certainly be super quick at the start. Like think of, is there any driver in that safety car? It's an odd observation, but I don't think there's even a driver in that safety car. Sorry. Anyway, there's no sauce. There isn't a driver in there. Look, there's guys on the sauce though. They will make a lot of ground up nice and early, I would have thought. So that'll be interesting. But as you say, 12 to go. Will the tyres actually last that time, or will they be, like I say, banking on another chaotic restart and another safety car to put new tyres on? Because I tell you what. I don't know. I just don't know. Because there's guys on old tyres out there as well who'll inevitably move out of their way. So maybe if the sauce can last, there is a good result for them. But anyway, restart is happening, and Kieran is the one to lead it this time. And I got a good feeling about this one. The race last week took a while to get going, but its ending was superb. This race has been all action right from the very start, so I can't wait to see how it ends. We're looking on the helicopter view from Pete, and could you imagine if he has a good restart here? I think everyone is sort of willing him on here to get into the lead of a JACKOCAR race once again. But look at them, they're nearly in formation. It's like looking at the start of the Indy 500, and look at them, they're nearly 5 wide on that main straight. That's extraordinary. Wow. That is a big accident. Big accident as Iceman gets wiped out trying to pass Pete, and that's what happens when they go 5 wide on a restart. And look at this, more chaos. 4 or 5 cars crashing again on a JACKOCAR restart in Spain, and they're still trying to go side by side through turn 3, and we see Casper and Risky going for it. Risky back into the podium positions.
Tell you what, don't rule out Risky of a race win here, because he's in front of Casper now, isn't he? But can those softs get to the end? What a shame for Iceman. He won't be winning this race. And neither will Pete. Kieran maintains the lead somehow. He had a very good restart. Pete got all squirrely as soon as Kieran lit the tyres up. And J-Luke just stormed through, making it 5 wide on the start-finish line. Risky with that great restart, as we've already mentioned.
Another car off, it's Gareth. At this stage, crashes will bring out safety cars, so you've got to be careful. And I'm imagining we're going to see a flurry of pit stops for those who still haven't finished their strategies yet. So let's look out for that, because Kieran, I would have thought, would want out of this situation ASAP. And I tell you what, Jamie Griffiths is looking so strong right now, because he can see. Why is Kieran staying out? That really surprises me. But I tell you what, Jamie Griffiths, if he can make these tyres last, he is quickly becoming one of the favourites, along with Casper, who's trying to get alongside with Risky and towards turn 1. Will he dive? He doesn't try it, but he certainly got close as Gareth again, making a mistake. I'm looking out for a safety car if he makes too many, but he's got moving again, and I'm sure he'll be heading towards the pit lane at the end of this lap. OKK and Jordan are in, so OKK gives up his Joker. He wasn't going to win on it anyway, by the looks of it, but he's now going to be on some lovely, fresh, soft compound tyres to the end of this race. But this is suddenly becoming, once again, very unpredictable because of Kieran's lack of will to pit. I guess he just doesn't think Sauce will last, but he's got a massive train of cars behind him, so he's got to do something.
The thing is, it's JACKOCAR. Surely he knows.
Look at Risky.
He'll know he's got to pit.
Look at Risky on the inside of Jamie. Can he get himself through on the 2-time champion? He's got the better tyres, he's got the better grip, and round the outside he goes. He turns him round. He turns him round, but is up to second place. And can Risky make an incredible run to the end of this race as Jamie falls down? And that's going to help Jamie Griffiths even more on his soft compound tyres. This race just keeps getting more and more unpredictable. And I tell you what, Casper will have loved watching that.
He absolutely would. Casper's trying to sniff a second win, but Risky trying to sniff his first win of the season. Where does Jamie Griffiths fall into this? If he can make those softs last, he is surely the man, isn't he?
Well, this is the thing.
Because
I
can't imagine Risky's going to give Casper a very good time.
Oh, he's off.
He's made a mistake.
And he'll have Jake all over him and possibly through. A late move to defend. Can he defend it round the outside of 4? I think he'll get pushed off the road if he tries it. And Jake is through now into 4th place. And just to remind you, Jamie Griffiths is going to the end. Risky can't, right?
Yeah, Risky can't, so he won't win this race. Sorry, I do apologise.
So, I'm surprised though, he's not on the back of Kieran. He may well be soon, with DRS enabled, of course, on this lap, the 3rd lap of the restart that has given us so much drama already. And well, Jamie Griffiths, he'll be all over the back because it's still his race to win. That mistake at 3 didn't cause any damage. It may have slightly scrubbed the tyres, but if he can get himself up to Casper and past Casper quickly, then it's still on for him. As off the road goes Risky, and he's going through the chicane. And well, he has to get himself back on track quickly, but that gives Kieran a bit more breathing room because he's still out there and not pitting yet. And let's see, can Jake get through on Risky? No, he can't. He's not got any ERS left, and that could be a problem for him later on, as we see a few drivers actually are a bit low on the ERS. I'd be looking at the likes of Ben Spurs, who I think has finished his pit stop strategy. He has, yeah. Will be enjoying this as well because he's got a bit more ERS and he's hanging on to the back of Jamie, who's on older tyres. So again, if these softs have the longevity, then you could be looking at the likes of Ben for a decent result. If he just keeps it pointing in the right direction as OKK sets the fastest lap of his race. I tell you what, one more safety car could give us a stunning finish here.
And one more safety car will drop Kieran outside the top 10 as well. He needs to pit at some point, as Casper has got that gap down now to 4/10 since Risky made his mistake. Surely it's going to be the next lap here, unless Kieran pits. But he's struggling now through turn 10, isn't he, Kieran? The back end trying to get away from him. Casper follows him into 11, and then it'll be into 12 they go. The gap down to less than 4/10 then.
And Casper, a driver who we've seen backwards on multiple occasions today,
stays out,
is looking to get by Kieran, the ever stubborn race leader who refuses to pit. As we see another yellow flag, they keep teasing us. I think that one might have been possibly Michelle. but Casper doesn't find a way through. Look at this though, side by side. We've got Jamie and we've got Jake pushing him off. I said he would do it, and he's doing it exactly the way I thought he would as well. He's not making it easy to get through, and Jamie has to let him back through. It was an illegal overtake, and it's going to hold him up even more, because here comes Jamie Wright around the outside, and he's going to get pushed a little bit wide now as well. The elbows are coming out in the last few laps here in Spain, but Jamie Wright is getting himself through and back into the top 5. And next up will be Ben Spurs all over him. Back at the front, DRS still active, still there for Casper if he can make it work, but I just don't think he has the straight line speed, oddly. Even though Casper, he's got ERS left, but so does Kieran, and Risky just waiting in tow. And like I say, there's still more pit stops to happen, so it's a very odd situation. As another car goes off, it's Gareth. This is where we saw people getting beached earlier, and he's lucky not to have the same happen to him. Even a VSC right now would help the likes of Kieran, because I think he's in the pits now. Yeah. He's finally into the pits, as is Risky. Anyone else going to pit, or are we all good to the end? I believe this is us now, because here comes Ben. Look, he's all over the back and alongside, going for P4. He's on the best tyres out there, is Ben Spurs. He's into the top 4. What can he achieve today? As side by side he goes with Jamie Griffiths, the last race winner, and side by side through 3. This is an incredible battle.
Wow.
And Ben, who's not used to fighting like this at the front, is holding his ground very nicely indeed. And on the inside of turn 4, he gets himself through. He's into 4th position.
What a drive. Mike's going to follow him through as well. Jamie Griffiths had a problem on the exit of turn 4, and now what am I looking at? Michel Goris, no, it's a lapped car, sorry, ignore me, but Ben Spurs, what a drive he's putting in. Could he win this race? Anything can happen further up.
It's a crash!
It's risky!
This could be big. It's potential. I think it's a full safety car. It is. Full safety car, Jacko. Ben has a chance to get his tyres back into a working temperature again. He'll have 3 laps behind this thing. This could be a stunning result for him on the cards. And I tell you what, Kieran, on brand new, shiny, fresh, soft compound tyres, I don't think these top guys can pit. They are. They're pitting. Jacko, why are all these guys pitting? Jamie Wright has stayed out, and the rest have played chicken, and they're all into the pits. So that leaves us in a very interesting situation. I didn't expect this many pit stops. Can Kieran beat any of them out? And who's going to get to the front? Is there going to be any stacking? I'm wondering if Ben is making a mistake by pitting, because he may have been okay on those tyres, but can Kieran get through any of them? This is so important. He was hoping he'd be able to challenge him on harder tyres, but no, he can't get them. He's had to put the brakes on, and so he's only going to end up in 6th place here. But Jamie Wright is sitting at the front of this grid. He's got Yuri, a lapped car, to help him out here a little bit on the restart. But after that, he's on his own with 6 drivers behind him. 7 when it all catches. Well, in fact, the whole field, isn't it? They're all going to get to catch up. All of the top 10 will be in with a shot of victory. And they'll all be chasing a driver who's on very, very old tyres.
Again, I'm just filling out my admin. KK makes a stop, as does Michelle.
I tell you what, Risky, it's a shame to see his race end like that, but my goodness, has he given us a superb potential for the end of this race.
You know what, every season he gives us 1 or 2 races where he's just at the front, isn't he? It's a shame this was it, that he's had to retire on this lap, but incredible scenes, great driving from Risky, entertainment all evening long. And we have a top 3 that have won races this season, and then 4th, 5th and 6th have not.
Now, interestingly,
fresh tyres.
I don't know if the game has told him to do this, but you'll notice that Yuri is now leading the pack round rather than Jamie. And he's not ghosted, so I don't know if he's being let through the safety car. Is that a thing we can do now? Well, he's passing it.
Do it.
He's passing it, so maybe getting himself out of the picture. But I mean, he's bolted. I mean, if we're allowing lap cars through, that is something that I've been waiting for this game to add forever. Either that, or we're about to see a black flag pop up.
That's what I'm waiting for.
But let's just wait and see, because either way, Yuri has done the honourable thing here and gotten out of the way of the leaders.
He's obliged to anyway under JACKOCAR rules, even if he was in the train with the safety car coming in, so he wouldn't have any effect on the restart.
I didn't realise you could do that. I really didn't realise you could do that, because I think he's actually been allowed to get away with it. I tell you what, if he goes quick enough, he can get into the pits and stick some lovely new sauce on as well.
Because get his lap back as well.
Yeah, well, this is it. Yeah, but we haven't got many left, have we? I don't imagine the safety car will stay any longer than perhaps 29. We will potentially get DRS at the end of this one. I don't think we'll be under the safety car for all that much longer. So we will see a pretty exciting ending here. But let's see. Are those lights going to go out at the end of this lap, or will it wait for Gareth? If it decides to wait for Gareth, that will give Yuri a chance. I don't know. Are we going to wait? Those lights are still on. Normally by this point they would have gone off, but obviously we've seen it before where the lights go off a corner away from the restart.
It happened last week, didn't it, up in Stowe corner?
Yeah, just randomly, it just pitted. But it looks like we're going to go for one more lap behind the safety car, so it means that every driver on the grid, bar Gareth, unfortunately for him, because he is still a lap down, will have a shot at getting a good result. Only 12 cars left. You'd never think it, would you, that Spain, of all tracks, would produce this sort of drama. But I said it to Jack, we both said it to each other before. We just knew. We just knew this was going to be something special.
It felt like it was going to be a good evening, didn't it? We had that energy about us in qualifying, and the race has delivered. I'm glad, I wouldn't normally say this, but I'm glad we have this final safety car to put everybody on those fresh tyres, apart from Jamie, who's opted for track position. So we have ourselves a race. Will we get a repeat race winner? Will we get a new race winner? Who knows? Ben Spurs, surely your driver of the day so far for managing to keep it on track. He finds himself P4, best ever result P3 Australia last season, as Yuri makes a pit stop. I wonder if he might not catch up.
He might not get to catch up now, I don't think. But I tell you what, the thing that I always don't mention when we're in this sort of situation is, of course, I'm here excited for this, waiting to see what these guys do, but we never really point out the nerves that the drivers will be feeling right now. I mean, how do you think Ben is feeling sitting up there in P4? He can't be looking forward to this that much.
Not at all. Not one bit.
I'll tell you what, Jamie, he'll be constantly looking over his shoulder thinking, I've got Casper behind me, oh god, he's on fresh softs. He'll be, that restart will be going over and over in his head. How is he going to approach it? And what about drivers like Kieran? He'll still be sitting there thinking, I can still win this. I can still win this. You know, a lot of these guys are sitting here, and there'll be a lot going through their heads right now as those lights turn off.
By the way, Owen, if you want another stat, MK Bourne, currently P5, hasn't won for 78 races. That was Azerbaijan, the first ever playoff race we had, so 78 races. Could he win tonight, MK Bourne?
And you know the good thing here as well? No one's got any penalties in this top 10. We can just watch these guys fight it out. So, a third different driver then to take a restart. We saw the last one 5 wide. Let's see if they can go a little bit cleaner this time.
Or they're going to occupy the top 5 at the moment, by the way.
We're lining up side by side again. Like I say, it's like watching an IndyCar race start. But Jamie gets himself away, and we see Jake pursuing Casper, the man who won round 4 of the season in Saudi Arabia. Certainly looking good at the minute, and is already, MK Bourne off the road. But he does keep it facing the right direction, but that's a driver out of the running, I'd say, already then. As, oh my goodness! That's a shoot off for Michel, who finds himself in the wall at 3. So another car gone, as we see Jordan side by side with OKK, who could still win this race. He's not going to do it on a Joker, of course, but he's still in the fight. But that crash is so big it caused my frames to drop. My goodness, and Ben, big moment for him. And he's now seeing behind him Kieran harrying him. And look at Jamie, he's moving across the track. He's lucky there's no DRS yet, but it's not going to last
Oh,
forever.
Kieran down the inside of Ben. Can he make it stick? Oh, he has a moment. Ben will retain position. I was going to say, I wonder if the ART boys, the top three, will they try and get their teammate in fourth into a winning position here? Because the top three have won races this season. Anything can happen.
We could see quite the main straight here because Casper's harrying the back of Jamie, and Jamie is already moving across the track. He's weaving like mad. Again, reminding me of the Indy 500. This is such an IndyCar feel to this thing, isn't it? As we head down towards turn 1, and still Jamie leads this race. When DRS gets enabled though on the last lap, I just don't see how he's going to be able to hold it off. Of course though, they'll only get to use it once, and that'll be on the run down towards turn 10. What did I say to you before this race? That turn 10, with so many different ways to take it, it could be where this race gets decided if we have a late safety car. And with where we're sitting right now, that could be just what happens as Jamie moves over. He's moving all over the place. He's so desperate to distract his rivals and get himself a little bit of a competitive advantage, but on those tyres there's only so much you can do. As through turn 9, Casper's all over the back, and he's going to go for the outside line. I imagine Jamie is going to take a very, very dim view of that. Will he push him wide off the road? He'll give it his best shot. He still holds on to the advantage. Look out for Jake. Is there any way through for him? As we see Casper make the move stick, he's into the race lead, but will Jamie have any opportunities as Casper has a moment? This isn't the first time we've seen Casper under pressure in the last lap of a JACKOCAR race, and last time we saw it he spun off and lost it. As we see the final lap then underway, no DRS on this main straight. Casper pulling away nicely, but look at Jamie's closing speed in towards turn 1. Will he dare go for it, or will he just try and hold on as wide? Goes Casper. It'll be a good exit for Jamie. Can he try it through 3? That'll be such a risky move to take on those tyres, but when you're in the last lap of a race, you've got nothing to lose. As we go forward to turn 4, where we've seen so much action today, but still nothing for Jamie to do, but he's staying close, and that's what you need to do, because when this DRS zone comes up, he'll have a chance.
Yeah, remember Jamie won earlier in the season with on his Joker strategy, taking those medium tyres all the way to the end, so he can hold on late in the race, but I think Casper's got a better exit out of turn 7 and 8, and then through 9 they go. It looks like Casper more and more is going to take the victory here. What can J-Luke do on the run down into turn 10? I think he's too far back, so is Jake now. Casper just has to hold on. What he didn't do in Australia. Jamie goes for a medium spin, keeps it facing the right way. Kieran sniffing a podium. Casper, keep it on the road, and you're a 2-time race winner this season.
He's through the last chicane now, a little bit wide on entry. He's avoiding those curbs, doesn't want to have any issues. And as he comes through the final corner now, Ben, I think's lost it. Oh, what a shame for him, but crossing the line, the pole sitter, who was off twice in this race, takes the checkered flag. It's Casper who wins in Spain from Jamie Wright in second place, and Jake picking up his second podium of the season. Kieran in fourth place, a big accident with him across the line. Jordan, P5. NK Bourne recovered well from that loss of grip in turn 1, where he was facing sideways to finish 6th. Jamie Griffiths in 7th place. I have a feeling he'll be disappointed with that one. And Ben, who was nearly in the wall on the last lap, getting across the line in P8 with OKK 9th, and Yuri 10th with the last finisher to be Gareth. And breathe.
Unless Gareth can provide any more entertainment in the final 3 corners.
I mean, he's cruising around, isn't he? I think I don't know, is he battle scarred or what? But he's getting himself to the line. My goodness, what a race that was! What a win for Casper. I mean, we need to give that more credit. I mean, he was literally he crashed on lap 1, crashed on the first restart. He had so much go wrong for him today. And he still takes the checkered flag. I
think Spain solidifies itself as a regular race once again.
Oh, yes.
We can't leave it 2.5 years again, can we? We need that in season 7.
Yeah, we didn't know what we've been missing. And there we are, the race winner, the Finland man. I've got that wrong. The Flying Finn. That's what I'm trying to say. who wins in Spain. And I say that breaks our duck then. 5 different winners in the first 5 races, but our first repeat winner in race 6. And a very well-deserved one as well. And, well, I don't actually know if he'll still be the man with the most laps laid at the end of today, but he certainly won't mind it too much, because Casper, he's enjoying his racing, he's enjoying winning, and he's certainly putting himself forward as one of the favourites to win the JACKOCAR Cup Series in Season 6. So the order then, provisionally at the end of the Spanish Grand Prix: Casper from Jamie, Jake, Kieran, Jordan, NK Bourne, Jamie, Ben, OKK, Yori and Gareth. And then the long list of retirees: Michelle, Risky, Pete, Iceman, Connor, Redmat, Jess, Leroy and Tease.
2 little things for you, Owen. With that, Casper goes clear of Ben Shaw. He is now the regular season leader by 10 points. And also, Jamie Wright, P2, 15 points, equals Arnaud de Grief's all-time points record of 798. They are level, Arnaud and Jamie Wright. 1 more point puts Jamie clear. Will
he finally hit that 800 club, or are we going to see the the curse of the 800 strike again? If you haven't been seeing Arnaud's previous appearances on this league, he keeps crashing before he has a chance to hit that 800, so maybe we'll see that duck finally broken. And what a place it'd be to do it in San Marino next week for Throwback Week. We all love a bit of Throwback Week. And yeah, I cannot wait to see. We had such a good race there. Even though it was a wet race last season, they still gave us some proper entertainment, especially on those safety car restarts.
Yeah, a race won by Iceman, who retired this evening. He'll want to come back and bounce back strong and regain his regular season lead. But Owen, I think we've been spoilt here in Spain this evening. It's normally nicknamed Pain, but tonight I disagree. Spain, a rightful track on the JACKOCAR calendar. What a race. And we'll be back next season, that's for sure.
Yeah. And so that's where we leave it tonight then. Thank you all very much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed the race. And we will see you next week for San Marino Throwback Week. We love to see it. Safe travels, everybody.